Howdy folks, I'm Bonnet Bilker Brian.
I'm Amber.
And here's some Reddit. Hey, you're not allowed to remove that. That's the costume part. What are you doing? You're supposed to costume.
I costumed earlier.
You costumed earlier. That's not a good enough excuse. Our first letter. I'm just kidding, folks. If you haven't seen this before, I'm just messing with Amber. She's really not upset with me, right, Amber?
Of course not.
Our first letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Reporting My Brother for Child Abandonment? So I, a 25-year-old female, usually work from home and frequently babysit my brother, a 31-year-old male, and sister-in-law's kids. They have 3 kids, all between the ages of 4 and 7. My brother has a rather demanding job that I won't be revealing here as I don't think he would want me to. And his wife is a nurse. So frequently, they need me to babysit for them, and it's usually fine. Well, my brother contacted me several days ago and asked if I could babysit his kids for the upcoming weekend, as he and his wife would be 2 states away. Usually I would agree, but I had a trip planned with some friends to go to New York City, clear across the country from us, for a few days. I told him as such, but he got upset and told me that my vacation could wait because whatever it was, he had to go for work and it was extremely important, and that his wife would be caring for her mother who recently had a stroke. I told him that I wouldn't be canceling my plans as I needed a break from work, and he blew up at me and started yelling about how I shouldn't be tired because I just sit at home all day and I don't have kids. At which point, I just hung up on him after telling him no once again. Fast forward to my trip and I'm hanging out at the hotel with my girlfriends, and I check my phone and I see a notification from 2 hours ago that there was movement detected at my front door. I check my camera and I'm just entirely floored. There on my porch were his kids, who apparently had been sitting there unsupervised for 2 whole hours. Of course I flipped out and I called my brother and screamed at him and asked him where he was and why he would just leave them when he knew I wouldn't be there. He then freaks out at me because I'm not at home and I was supposed to be. No, I wasn't. I told him that I wouldn't be, and he tells me that I've left his kids in a dangerous situation because he's 2 cities away from home. Turns out that after I hung up on him, he decided that he would call my bluff and drop them off anyways. Then he just left without even checking to make sure I was home. Now I'm extremely mad and worried sick about my nieces. So without any one of us who could take care of them, I called the police and informed them of the situation and that there was no one even in the city who could take care of them. I then called my sister-in-law to tell her that I had called the police, and it turns out she had no idea that I wouldn't be there because my brother had lied to her. Of course she's furious at him, and my brother is spamming me with texts that I'm going to get his kids taken away and that his wife won't talk to him. I wonder why. Overall, I'm just very angry and confused as to what was going on in his head when he decided to leave 3 kids all under the age of 8 alone and leave the city. Alright folks, what do you think, jerk or not the jerk?
Absolutely not the jerk. Like, can you imagine just being so self-centered that you think, oh, my siblings shouldn't be able to go on their vacation because I have needs? Like,
well, I think I'm gonna have to kind of differ on my opinion with this one. It was pretty reasonable for him because he demanded that she stay home. And I mean, that's a reasonable request, isn't that? Like, that's right there is
no, Opie, you are well within your right to take a vacation whenever you want. It's none of your brother's business. These are his kids. It's his responsibility to find some way to deal with them.
I'm just kidding, of course, folks. I think that OP is well within their rights to take a vacation. They don't need to be at the beck and call of their brother. They already do a lot for their brother, it sounds like. And they would have taken care of the kids, but they weren't going to be in town, and they can't just interrupt their vacation that they've planned for, X amount of time because he needs to take them on a business trip.
Yeah, like you don't have to plan your entire life around your brother's schedule.
Yeah. Hire a babysitter, right? There were options here. They could have hired a nanny, a babysitter, done any number of things. But abandoning children at someone's door and then not even checking to see if they're actually at the house is just absurd. This was just like hope and pray that the sister was actually still there. Like, that's not what you do with kids, right? That's so irresponsible. It's just floors me. So yeah, no, OP, you're not the jerk. All right, folks, our next letter is titled, Am I a jerk for refusing to cook for my boyfriend since he hogs it? This is dumb, I get it, and maybe I'm being petty. I like to cook, but I also like to eat it. My boyfriend Lewis and I have been together for a year. He comes over and stays a few nights a week because I live alone and he has roommates. Most night he stays here, I'll make dinner. Sometimes it's a bit simple, like spaghetti. Other times it's chicken or steak or homemade pizza. Whenever I make something, I try to make 4 portions. If I make something that's not going to be good leftover, like fish or steak, I just make enough for us for dinner. Lewis usually eats 2 helpings, or what I consider his half of what I make for dinner. I can usually only eat 1 for dinner and figure I will take leftovers for lunch. Thing is, Lewis goes to work before me and just helps himself to the leftovers for his lunch. Poor form, Lewis, poor form. Even if I make more than just 4 servings, he takes the rest home for lunch. Probably takes it home for dinner, for the next day, who knows. I've asked him not to do this several times, but he says it's so good. Or the night before, he just guilt trips me about it. One time I made spaghetti and he says it's just spaghetti. What's the big deal? It's easy to make. You can make more.
Then you can make it,
more.
Lewis.
Yeah, Lewis, if it's so easy, you can do it, can't you? I'm sick of putting the time and energy into cooking just so he basically gets it all. When I was single, I used to cook for myself and then eat for 2 days, lunch and dinner. He doesn't contribute to groceries or help me with cooking because he doesn't know how. Oh, poor Lewis. Here's the world's...
It's so easy.
Yeah, it's the world's smallest violin for the man who says cooking is so easy. So easy that he can't even boil water and throw spaghetti noodles into the water. Oh, I accidentally poured the whole water over my head. I just don't know how to make spaghetti right. I've even asked him to do simple things like chop onions, and he says I don't know how. Sunday night, I made chicken fajitas, not too hard to make, but enough so that we both would theoretically get 2 helpings. I had 1 tortilla for dinner, and he had 2. Before we went to bed, I said to him, the stuff in the container is for my lunch, do not take it. He said fine, and he would buy lunch on his way to work. Well, I woke up Monday morning and it was gone. I text him and he says, oopsie, I forgot. Yeah, you forgot, Lewis. We all believe that. Everyone believes you, Lewis. He came over yesterday and asked what was for dinner. I said, I don't know. You can make something or order something if you want. And I made myself a lean cuisine. I only had 1. He said, really? Just because I took your leftovers, you're not making dinner? I said that he's always eating more than me and taking my leftovers, and I'm not his personal chef, so he can figure out it from now on. He said, you should be happy I like your cooking, so most girls enjoy cooking for their man. Yuck. Then said that I shouldn't get mad about it and be petty about it. I was talking to a friend who I work with and said that I was peeved with Lewis. Then I told her why. And she said I shouldn't be keeping score like that because guys just eat more most of the time. Then she said, if you get married, are you going to count how much your husband eats because you cooked it? She says that I should enjoy cooking for people I love and not just hold it over them. I do like cooking for people I care about, but I don't like it when they refuse to help or contribute and then take most of it. Am I the jerk for refusing to cook for Lewis anymore? All right, folks, what do you think? Jerk or not the jerk?
Not the jerk, and maybe dump him. Also, look up weaponized incompetence, because that's him in a nutshell.
Yeah, I think Lewis is being pretty well weaponizing incompetence here. I think that this is just a sad situation for poor OP. So, yeah, I mean, I agree that this was weaponized incompetence. I think that this is just clear that he has no desire to help OP. And like her coworker, while their coworker, I think, has a fraction of a point here, you should not necessarily hold cooking against the person who you're cooking for. But that's not what's going on here at all, in my opinion. He's not contributing to the food bill. He's not contributing to the cooking. I doubt he's helping with the cleanup. And it just seems like you could go on and on and on about what Lewis is not doing to help with the situation. So I just think that this goes beyond preparing meals for someone and saying, oh, well, they're just eating more or blah, 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 right? And you shouldn't hold that against them. Maybe if he was willing to help cook, OP would be a little bit more willing to share some of the additional food. But also, she's made it explicit that she wants certain portions for herself. You've divvied up the food in a certain way, then now it's off limits, and you should respect your partner enough not to steal their food. So that's kind of where I stand on this one. I think that the coworker has really missed the mark here, and Lewis has certainly missed the mark. So anyhow, take care and good luck. All right, folks, our next letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Canceling the Entire Trip After Finding Out That My Husband Hid My Daughter's Passport? My husband and I have been together for 3 years. He has 3 kids from a previous relationship, and I have 1. She's the oldest, a 17-year-old, and he's a dedicated man, puts God first, and loves everyone. My husband always complains that my daughter doesn't spend time with her step-siblings or him, but she has reasons for that, and it's due to school, health issues, and work. She does her best to spend as much time with them as she can, but she complains that her stepdad tells her to take on the role of a babysitter whenever she's with her step-siblings. My husband denies this and said that my daughter was making up excuses to not have to spend time with his kids. For the issue, I figured that a family trip is what the family needed to get together and spend more time around each other. My husband liked the idea, but said that his kids are now uncomfortable around my daughter because of her attitude, and suggested that we let her stay home and have the house all to herself, since that's what she always wanted anyways. I told him that it's best if we all go, and he kept complaining till I snapped and told him to stop. Well, I booked and paid for the whole family trip. However, my daughter told me that she could not find her passport. We turned the house upside down for it, but couldn't find it. My husband said, well, maybe this is a sign from God, and we should let her stay home so that the trip wouldn't turn into a disaster. There's some foreshadowing here, folks. I ignored his comment, but later, while I was cleaning in his office, I found the passport tucked away in the 3rd drawer under a ton of papers. Sure does seem like that was up to God there. I was floored by this, and I confronted him, and he swore that he had no idea or how the passport got there. It just magicked itself into the bottom of that pile. I checked the upstairs camera and saw him enter my daughter's room, and that was it for me. I screamed my head off at him and then canceled the whole trip completely. He started arguing and saying that I was overreacting, and that he didn't want his kids to be miserable on the trip, and that he would be willing to apologize to my daughter if and when I reconsider my decision regarding the canceled trip, because my stepkids will be devastated. But I said it was final, and that was that. He has become cold and distant, and said that he wants to take some time to do some fasting and to get some guidance from God about how he should deal with the disrespect and control that I had displayed lately. Am I the jerk for canceling it altogether? All right, folks, what do you think, jerk or not the jerk?
Not the jerk, but that second to last sentence has me definite. Like, I was thinking get out before this, but he's saying that you taking a stand for your daughter is disrespect and exerting control.
Yeah.
Like, This man is not a good partner.
No.
He's been trying to alienate your daughter from the get-go, trying to parentify her, and like, you just need to get out and get your daughter out.
Yeah, I agree on that. And then what's also kind of disturbing about the situation is that he seems to be one of these people who employs the word of God to control people. And I think that this is just like the worst kind of religious take, is these people, some people are unscrupulous about their beliefs, and what they'll do is they'll say that they believe in God, and they'll put on a big show about how much they believe in God, but all it is a smoke show to get you to be controlled by them. And I think that this seems like that to me. He keeps talking about how he needs to talk to God. Well, where was his judgment when he took and stole that passport, right? The guidance would have been not to steal your daughter's passport, and then not to pretend like God magically hid it, because that's not what happened. We all know it didn't happen. You have video proof that that is not what happened.
As long as you're with him, your daughter's never going to be treated as an equal. I'd be worried about how he treats her down the line.
Yeah. Anyhow, take care and good luck. All right, folks, it is tea time. Grab your beverages of choice. I have some tea here. Let's see if you can guess it right, because of course, I guessed it right on the second try. Amber has a joke for us from Mary.
Did you hear the sad news of the unusually tall emu?
Oh, I don't remember the joke punchline here.
He was ostrich-sized.
Yes, that's right. He was ostracized. Oh no, that's a great joke, Mary. Thank you so much for sharing it with us. I really got a kick out of it. And I have licorice spice. All right, folks, that's all the time we have for today. Apparently, I'm trying to smack Amber in the face. I hope you enjoyed today's video. Thanks so much to Amber for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
I hope you all enjoyed this video, and we will see you all tomorrow.
Bye.
Usually I would agree, but I had a trip planned with some friends to goo. So I mean, literally, this is it. This is as best as we're gonna get, folks. To goo. From now on, go is no longer pronounced go; it's pronounced goo. If you want to goo somewhere, just make sure to goo there. And got is gonna be goot.